Well, reports that have to deal with the performance of the real estate market can sound conflicting, especially if what you hear is only half of the story or you just read a headline. So to help us interpret some of the real estate news, real estate expert Denny Grimes is in with us this morning, and this can be confusing if one headline says one thing and another seems to contradict it.
Absolutely. Sometimes you wonder who's winning the game when you hear conflicting reports, and I'm in the industry and I'm confused a lot of times. So I brought an example of what I'm talking about, Rob. There's two headlines that came out within the last week, both from the National Association of Realtors, a good source.
Right.
One says December existing home sales rise, and 2013 the strongest in 7 years. That sounds great. Next day, pending home sales tumble in December, lowest level since 2011. So on one hand you think the market's doing great, and the other hand you think, oh, what is the truth here?
And they're different things too when you read it a little closer.
Right, and unfortunately the consumer doesn't really understand the difference. When they talk about existing home sales, they're talking about the closed sales in December were up, which means they had a good October and November. But pending home sales are down, and which means basically that maybe January and February may be slow. But I brought a slide to show you that the second point that people have to understand was when they read or hear a news story is that national stories may not apply here. Here you see basically, I'm showing what Southwest Florida did relative to the article that said pending home sales tumble in December. Here you can see our pending home sales, the number of contracts written both in Lee and Collier County. You can see that they were down from last year, but Lee County was about the same as 2011, and Collier County was up.
There's no tumble there.
No tumble. And what do you think one of the factors might be? Well, across the country, they've been having some pretty cold weather, and so maybe home shopping might be a little curtailed in some parts of the country if it's sub-zero.
Sure, yeah. Who's going to go out and look? How can you go out and look?
Absolutely. So when you read something in the paper and it's coming from the national source, or you're hearing a news story, understand it may not apply to our market. Going back to the other headline where it says our last year, 2013, was the strongest in 7 years. That doesn't apply to our market either, because our market is actually decreasing the number of sales, which is a good thing because we don't have all that toxic inventory anymore.
We're sort of I guess our own monster now. We sort of led the way down, but coming out, we're in our own sort of recovery.
Right. Well, we were what's called a bubble market. There was Phoenix, Las Vegas, a few others. We were the first ones to fall, and we're the first ones to recover. The bottom line is, if you're going to compare this to the Super Bowl, our market's still winning. Sales are holding their own. Prices 2013 were up 23%. So our market is very healthy, in spite of some of the conflicting headlines people may see.
And so when you see those headlines, what do you recommend?
Well, number one, look at the source. Are they talking about the country? If they're talking about the country as a whole, you know, if one size fit all, we could just use Joey as our weatherman for the country. He could be the Willard Scott for the nation. But real estate is local. So if they're talking about the country, you have to probably interpret it or get somebody like a realtor or somebody to interpret it from a local basis. Because our market, like you said, is a little bit different. We're a bubble market well into recovery.
All right. Thanks, Denny. We'll be right back.